tonight, I think we have, and this is no disrespect, Bobby, I love you to bits, but the scoop we have this evening, I think tops all of our speakers. We've had some really, really great speakers. Now I'll tell you a little secret. I created the poster. Brad done it. Where's Brad? Brad. John, it was Brad, it wasn't me. Created the poster, published it on social media, and then sent John the WhatsApp message. Because John don't do this kind of stuff. Honestly, I'm truly grateful that they've accepted and they've agreed to come and share their journey. They are absolutely inspirational. Absolutely inspirational. Give them a round of applause. Their business acumen, that's one thing. Just the fact that they've supported poor old Abid for the last 8 years. We've held our events here for the past 8 years. And I'm sure there's people like Adam States here who was here from day one. We can't get rid of him. But I mean, you know, they've been here from day one. The food, the service, the staff, the atmosphere, the ambience. You know, it's down to the venue, it's down to their service, and it's down to the way they deal with people. So honestly, Bob and John, thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Now, I asked earlier on Instagram, what questions should I ask them? And I have loads of questions. So, if I could ask you please kindly to make your way. These are Brome's finest. They deserve a bit more than that. Come on, come on. First of all, John and Bob, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us here, Albert. Thank you.
I don't think, I mean, Bob we've heard on stage before, and Bob speaks really well, and I've heard parts of Bob's story over the years. But I don't think I've ever had the privilege of listening to John on stage. So for me, it's a first, and it's a great opportunity. So where does the story start from? What happened? How do you go from one chip shop to 18 chip shops?
I think, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before we start this story, I think it's very important that our story starts from our mother and her journey and how she struggled in her life to bring us two brothers up. And I think it's important that we talk about her first. A woman who came with her husband into this country, 1965, spoke no English. My father came here as part of the migrant, the influx of people coming in to support the locomotive industries, and he was working in a factory, Lucas factory on Shaftmore Lane. That's where he worked with my grandfather and my uncle who used to work there. 1967, she had John, and then I turned up in 1969, and 2 years after, about 1971, 1972, our father left us, and our mother was on her own, left to fend for herself. She spoke no English, she had no money, but that didn't stop her. She had to get out of the house. In those days, the Kashmiri culture, where we're from back home, was very much the woman stayed home, but she had to get out of the house. She had to go and find work because she had 2 mouths to feed and rent to pay. So she looked for work in Stratford Road, Ladypool Road, Moseley Road, looked for these lot of textile industries where she worked. She got paid. She found work, she got paid. Some people paid her, some people didn't. It was the way the industry was. And eventually she found work on Moseley Road, just down the road here, not very far. We drive past it every day when we come here. And we remember the place where our mother started her work life. A little business called John Tucker, an Indian family who took her in, supported her, gave her the love and respect. They know that she was a single mother. And she repaid that respect and love as she worked hard. She used to go in 7 o'clock in the morning and finish at 10 o'clock at night, long hours. And then eventually as a result of her hard work, John Tucker gave my mother the keys to the factory, that she comes in the morning, she lets the staff in, and then she closes the factory and lets the people out. So they repaid her that way, and my mother worked hard. It was sewing garments for the sports industry, making jackets. She was getting 50 pence a jacket in those days. She worked hard, and then eventually she was able to bring work home. Her pride was the Brother machine that she had in the front room. If you remember, anybody remember the Brother machines?
I'm sure many can relate to that.
Brrr, 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 every night. We're trying to sleep, and Mum, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, she's making those jackets. She worked hard to bring us 2 boys up, and then after that, she wanted to help other women in the area. A lot of the women where we lived in Fallows, we just lived in Fallows Road, off the Walford Road here, and a lot of women, again from Kashmiri background, stayed home. They couldn't go out, but they wanted to work. They wanted to earn more money. So my mum just set up a little round. She bought work from the factory, brought it home, and distributed that work to the ladies but she built up a network of about 30 women in the area, providing them work. She'd get 50 pence per jacket. She'd give them 30 and keep 20 herself, 20 pence. And all those 20 pences put together over a period of time. She bought her first car. She passed her driving test. She was probably one of the first Kashmiri women to pass her driving test back in 1976. You probably see the white car that she bought. It was in one of the images here. Datsun 120Y. I remember the number plate CDD 189T. And then she had another car after that, UFT 573T, a little yellow 1200, I think it was. But yeah. And then, as a result of her hard work, she eventually saved enough money to buy the house that we were living in. It was £18,000, roughly that. But
no, it was £10,000.
£10,000. So all those 20p's just putting together, and eventually she was able to buy her own car, her own house, making her independent, and also providing a livelihood for all those other women in the area. And they were able to sustain themselves as well and build their lives. A lot of women will know, I don't know, Auntie Najma here knew our mother for what she stood for. She was very supportive. She was also very strong. She kept us, both boys, on the straight and narrow. And we owe everything to her. John, at a very young age, 13 years of age, I mean, he's a big lad then, but he started working in my uncle's restaurant. He's working in the kitchens, Adil Tandoori on Stony Lane. I don't know.
So I only discovered that day that I was working 2 restaurants away.
Yeah.
Although I'm 7 years younger, I was only working a few doors away. But it's funny how life comes in round circles.
Yeah, no, Abid was saying, but back in them days, obviously, I was working with my uncle. Started off, washing dishes and just working my way around, peeling the onions and doing everything. Because I was always a big lad. I was 13 years old, but you could easily mistaken me for 17, 18. The only downside was when you go pay for your bus fare, you try to pay your 11, 12-year-old bus fare, and they say, yeah, but mate, take a hike. That was the only downside. And then from there, I wasn't really good at school. I mean, obviously, Bob's the academic in the family. We had a job in town. Always was skiving school to work as well to help our mother. I was a cleaner at one of the warehouses. Probably Andy knows where the Mass House Park is. There used to be an old warehouse called Usha Fashions, which I sort of started working there. I went in there for a job. Said, "How old are you?" So I'm 16 years old. Actually, I was 13. And so that's where it was. I was skiving school most days, every day, just working. So we're helping Mum. Just helping Mum with everything else. And So
I think Mum just decided that wasn't the life that she wanted for her children.
yeah.
She decided that she wanted to sell the property. She wanted to have a business of her own, and she sold the house and took us away from this area. She knew she had good foresight. She knew that this area, that this boy.
I mean, we got someone very important here. I think Sonny, who's the,
Sonny, our audio guy today.
Yeah,
Yes.
So,
I
Sonny,
learned something that day as well. Yeah.
his parents, Uncle Paul and his mother, were friends, and they're the ones who really, helped our mother in 1984. I think it was 31st of May 1984 when Mum bought the first shop.
They helped you sort out the mortgage, didn't they?
Yeah. They really. I mean, credit goes to. They were sort of like our uncle and auntie, and that's where it all started off from the paper shop.
So, before the chip shops, there was a paper shop.
Yeah. Mum bought us a small shop in Erdington. It's still there today. So both brothers, the day she bought it, so she sat both of us down and said, "Listen, guys, I bought this shop for you two brothers, and I've done my bit, and this is for you guys. If you make a success of it, my blessings are with you. If you mess it up, that's misfortune, and I'm going to Pakistan." So back then both brothers, we worked really hard. I mean, it was a small shop. It was doing about between £900 a week, and we on Spring Lane we used to have a family. The East End family used to live on East End back in 1984, and they used to have a cash and carry in Darwin Street, where all the brothers, they all used to live together, and we used to see them, and they used to say, "Look, why don't you come and to our cash and carry?" And really our success lies down, obviously, our mum's du'as and blessings, but they really helped us, and they said to us, "Guys, we'll give you unlimited credit as long as you stick to the terms." And
How old were you at this stage?
just turned 16.
Wow.
Yeah, turned 16.
Wow.
Bob was still at Solihull College.
Golden School.
Golden School.
Golden School. Then I messed up my CSEs, so I didn't tell Mum that. In those days, they used to have paper reports, so you can just sort of.
I think we've all done a bit of that.
You could turn a C into a B, and an E into a B as well. So Mum thought.
My dad's sitting here now, so I can't say nothing.
No.
But I think we've all done.
Mum had
we've all done
plans
a bit
for
of
us. Mum was saying that my big son's going to be a pilot, and the youngest son was going to be a doctor, and we thought that ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen.
I think the older generation all wanted their sons to be pilots. I was meant to be a pilot as well, and my dad's sitting there. Yeah.
So it's just been in 1984. We worked really, really hard, both brothers, and from there we sort of, we used to have one of our neighbours used to have a chip shop in Warsaw, and he sort of like decided that he had enough, and then I said to Bob, I said, "Do you fancy a chippy?" So both brothers, we went down and had a look. We'd done the deal, and that was in 1986 when we bought the first fish and chip shop there.
So the first one was in Warsaw.
Well, the first one was in Warsaw. So we had both shops. I was running the paper shop, so Bob was running the chip shop in Warsaw. So in Erdington, at Six Ways Erdington, you probably know that was our first Big John's in Erdington, and there was a late night. You've probably seen the snaps on here. Was a shop called Yenton Barbecue, and it was always busy. We used to buy our chips from there all the time.
We used to close the paper shop at night and just go out to drive and look at how busy that shop was. And every night we used to go there. And Johnny said to me one day, he goes, "Bob, we're going to buy that shop."
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It was out of our reach. It was £135,000 to buy that shop in. We're talking 1989.
Yeah, 1989.
Wow.
£135,000.
135,000. So I was looking in the newspapers back in them days, Evening Mail, on a Tuesday and a Thursday, they used to have a business for sale section. And always like, the entrepreneurship, you're always, looking at other businesses and always trying to see. And I rang Bob, but back in them days, it was just the normal phone. You know, you pick up, you dial the number. I said, guess what? I said, the shop's up for sale in Erdington. And so we went down and had a look. And it was a lot of money, 135,000 back in 1989 was a lot of money, but I could see the potential there, because that shop opened from 5 in the evenings until like 5 the next morning. So we all had all the late night trade, all the trade from the nightclubs, all the pubs and everything else. So I thought, it's on a busy high street, and then what I'll do is take it over, I'll open up for lunch times, and then that will increase the turnover. And so trying to convince Mom, she was a hard woman, as you see. She took no prisoners. She told you, she said, nah, it ain't happening. I said, look, Mom, it's got to happen. You got to do something. So we had a good bank manager at that time, at National West and NatWest Bank. So both brothers, we went down and arranged them finance. Told them a bit of track record of what we'd done with the paper shop and the other chip shop in Warsaw. I mean, the guy had a lot of faith in us. So, I mean, back then, you'd give him a business plan, and you give them the figures, and if they liked you, they'll lend you the money. But there was a catch. They says, look, we'll lend you the money, but you're going to have to put your house up for security, Mum's house. So went back, sat down, told Mum, took Mum, showed her the shop. She was all good, as they all say, yeah, Mum. So did the business plan, wrote it all down, and said, right, this is how much it's taking, this is what the margin is, and this is what the profit's going to be. But even better, I'm going to open during the day, and that will. So, she says, right, that's fine. I said, the bank's done the finance on it. They've agreed the mortgage, but the catch is you're going to have to put the house up for security.
Oops.
And she was okay at first. Obviously, my stepfather, being as he was, at first he was okay. We'd sit down every evening just after dinner. We would do the sums up and everything else, and keep going through over and over, trying to convince Mum. Mum said, yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, fine, John. How much profit we're going to make every week after paying everything? I said, Mum, we're going to be left with £500 profit after mortgage payments, everything else. She said, right, I'm going to keep the £500. Anything over and above the money you're going to make, we'll still go 50-50. I says, fine. I says, I'll do anything just to get this shop. I'll do anything. So this went on for quite some time. We'd have meetings in the evening, but the Greek guy who owned the shop was just getting paranoid and then impatient. He says, are you buying this shop or you're not buying it? Are you buying it or you're not buying it? I said, look, I'm sorting it out. But it just went on for a couple of weeks. At night, Mum said, yes, no problem. Take me to the solicitors, take me to the bank, I'll sign the house over. In the morning, she changed her mind. So that's went on for a couple of weeks, and the deadline came because the bank facility was going to expire. The Greek who owned the shop just really had enough. He just thought, what, these guys are messing around. And so we sort of like... one evening we were all sat down for dinner, and sat down and I said, look, Mum, tomorrow's the last day, and it's dragged on for quite some time, and you keep promising me, and then in the morning you change your mind, only to find out that my stepfather kept during the night telling, oh no, these boys are gonna mess it all up, you're gonna lose the house and everything else. So just carried on during dinner, finished dinner. I said, look, Mum, what's going to happen? She turned around and said, right, sorry, son, it's not happening. I said, Mum, all these months, weeks, you've been telling me, yes, and then, we've been trying to negotiate. I said, right, I'm leaving home.
Oh, he did as well.
he left home. So usually, everybody, leave home because they can't marry their partners or anybody else. For me, I couldn't get the shop, so I quickly got up and I darted out of the front door. My mum chased me, but she couldn't catch me. So we had a little Morris Marina back in them days. So I started the car and then just drove around and
You were going to come back home that night, weren't you?
I didn't come back home that night, and then in the morning, obviously she had to get up to open the paper shop because she knew I hadn't come home. So they opened the shop in the morning, and they called Bob and said, "Look, go and find him." So
He was only sleeping 2 doors up the road.
I hit the van, and so Bob come round. He said, "Look, Mum's agreed." So we sort of, Mum agreed, and that was really the start of the journey at that Six Ways Erdington.
Yeah, the Erdington shop put us on the map. That was where we actually started. The Walsall shop was just experience in the food business to get in there. We learned a lot of lessons from there, and painful lessons as well. But that's where we actually got our experience. Then the big jump was the Erdington Six Ways.
Owning one chip shop is hard enough.
Yeah, I think what actually happened is when we refurbished the store, and back in them days, this industry was predominantly dominated by the Greeks. So the Greeks had they had the monopoly for all the chip shops. So myself and Bob, we just got into it, and we said, right, we've just refurbished this store. So right, how shall we piss the Greeks off? So back in them days, the fish and chips used to be £2 back in 1989-90, and there used to be a big size of piece of fish, about between 7.5, 8 ounce piece of fish and pile of chips. And really, if you eat that meal, it'd be nice, but the thing is, it'll be just too much. So we said, right, we're going to piss these Greeks off, and we're going to start off with the opening offer of 99 pence.
There's a picture on the slides where you've got the 99.
Yeah. So what we did is we cut the portions in half. So instead of serving an 8 ounce fillet, we did a 3.5, 4 ounce fillet and a cone of chips. And the reality is that the quality, the secret behind good fish and chips is the freshness of the product. As soon as it comes out of the pan, that's the best time to eat fish and chips. And that's where they all started off, 99 pence. So as soon as we opened the first door, the queues were out. We used to open at 12 o'clock. And I said by the time we opened at 12 o'clock, there was always a 20 deep queue waiting outside. Wow. And then...
and this was in 89.
So that did piss the Greeks off. The queues pissed the Greek off.
Mission accomplished. Yeah. Was that in 89?
89. And then then we started opening half an hour early. Queues were still out there. Then another half an hour early. So trying to catch up, because the thing was we couldn't cook the product fast enough to serve. So there was always constantly cooking. And when we reopened when we refurbished the store, the deal was that we'd only do a month's promotion, and just really piss everybody off around in the Erdington St Coldfield area, because there was a very popular George's Fish Bar on the High Street, Erdington, very predominantly, very, very busy back in them days. You had a great reputation, and that's where it really all started off. The 99p was a loss leader, but when people would come in, they'd buy this, they'd buy that to build. By that time, then all of a sudden, the first week, I'd get up on the phone and say, listen to the potato guys and potato merchants. I said, could you bring a ton of spuds quick? I need them quick, because we were that busy. And within the first few weeks, the industry found out that these guys are turning the numbers over, so why not? So everybody was ringing me up. So one supplier ringed me up, oh, I got cod at £11 a stone. I get another guy's ringing me up, oh, £10 a stone. So I said, myself and Bob, we sat down, worked out the margin, and said, look, profitability is there. Let's screw all the wholesalers. So what it was doing, we were just playing one against the other. Yeah. So we're trying to maintain our margins. Yeah. We were haggling with our wholesalers, and on the back of that, before people started working out what we were really doing, we built the brand.
Absolutely. So one chip shop is hard enough. And I do insurance. I insure a lot of chip shops up and down the country. And the poor owners, I mean, you know, they're out of their depth. How on earth do you go from one and start opening multiple stores and then managing them as well?
It is hard work, but it was all down to the team. You know, even up until today, the guys who helped us who have started, we were all young, you know, 16, 17-year-olds, and them guys are still with us today up until this day. And it was all about teamwork, and it was all about, you know, working hard. It was all about, our vision was to have multiple stores, you know, and then you just build the team around
and
that.
Then you opened the first halal drive-through chip shop.
Yeah, that was in Cook's Lane.
In Chelmsford Wood.
Yeah, Chelmsford.
What year was that?
That was 2000?
2002.
2002.
And where does the inspiration for that come from?
Well, the halal, you see, 21 years ago, the halal food market was very underserved.
Absolutely.
You know, you probably had to go to Ladypool Road, was the only place.
The Hawk Kebab House, and that was
The
it.
Hawk Kebab House was about it. And we saw a market. We knew that at the time that, you know, this market's going to grow. And even to this day now, in 2023, the market is still underserved. There's a lot of halal restaurants and takeaways that have opened, but still not enough. And we just jumped on that 2002, opened the first
Bit of a gamble though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Such a huge commitment,
Yeah,
such a huge
gamble.
site.
especially in Chelmsford Wood, because there's no Pakis there.
Absolutely. No, it's a huge,
We're
it's a huge
serving
gamble.
all the
isn't it?
English people halal food. Telling them they're going straight to paradise after this.
So, I mean, I was at Birmingham Uni when you opened up Selly Oak.
Yeah.
And you're quite right, because there was no halal food in Selly Oak. We were stuck with restaurants like the Chuman, which we never ate from.
Why?
And I can't go into that in the public domain. But you know, when Big John and Selly Oak opened up, for us it was a godsend. And the food was just brilliant. It just, and it's still until today. I'm not saying that because you're sitting next to me, but genuinely the food has just got better and better. But yeah, I mean, there was a niche there. There was a need for it. And strategically, how did you plot or plan your locations? Because Selly Oak was a no-go area for Asians, particularly where you are by Sainsbury's. Heading up towards Northfield, we had to wear body armour. If we were people of colour, and this is no word of a lie, I was doing taxi in 95, 96, 97 in Selly Oak, Willie Castle, Bartley Green. It wasn't the nicest of areas. So what inspired you? First of all, Chelmsford Wood. And then you pick them and you went Selly Oak, which, I mean, Selly Oak is a nice area, but you're towards the further end of Selly Oak, towards Northfield.
Well, there's a funny story with Selly Oak. Selly Oak came across when my little nephew Mohit, he's about 4 years old, was sitting at home, sitting next to the cooker. His mum had put some water in a pan, and he was kicking his legs at forward, and then suddenly he kicked the pan of full water. He fell down, and the hot water fell on the back of him, burnt him. So we rushed him to hospital, and en route to hospital.
Selly Oak Hospital.
Selly Oak Hospital.
Yeah, they had a special burns unit.
And en route, as we parked the lights there, on the corner, as we were dropping my sort of shop on the corner, I thought, forget this. I think his mother.
That's a true entrepreneur right there, isn't it?
His mother can deal with this. Let me just take this number down. So we got the number I got the number. Then next morning I ring John, because John had some contacts in the estate agents, and I said, look, we got to get this shop. It's in a brilliant location, ideal for Big John's, and within a few, it used to be an Uncle Sam's Pizza at the time.
Yeah.
Just closed down, and we managed to secure it within a few weeks, and that's the first.
So how many chip shops in the West Midlands now is there?
They're about 20.
20. And you're as far as Leicester, aren't you, as well? So from chip shops, then the transition into restaurants.
I mean, restaurants, I mean, obviously, when I worked at the other restaurant, I mean, I'm sure we used to
Let's not talk about that, please.
Yeah, so
So just just to say, back in those days, the restaurant industry in Spark Hill was predominantly
Balti houses, weren't they?
It was Balti houses, and there was no Asians as customers. It was white people, and we used to spend time just smashing each other's windows in spite. This was the restaurant trade way back in the early 90s. So there's a chance we met many years ago. I can't recall, but there is a possibility.
Yeah, so obviously background was, I've been in started off in the restaurants, been through all the rigmarole, the peeling the onions, making the dough, and then helping the main chef at that time, and learning through all the way through, and then working in the front, and then until Mum bought us the shop. So we always had aspirations, to have a restaurant. And it was Bob went down back in them days. Was it Star City, Sher Khan?
Yeah, when I used to have my fit body, I used to go to Holmes Place on Star City.
Yeah.
And this particular place next to Holmes Place was called Fatty Arbuckles. They just closed. It's amazing. Every time I go across the building, it closes down. So I was going to the gym in Holmes Place, and I walked past this, and I could see people moving stuff out. Fatty Arbuckles was closing down, and again I rang John up.
So basically, you go around spotting places, and John makes it happen.
Yeah, John definitely makes it happen.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
so Sher Khan in Star City was the first one.
Yeah, that opened in 2005.
And then came Oodle Noodles.
Oodles Noodles came in 2008.
That's got nothing to do with Asian food. What's the inspiration?
That's a Pan-Asian. What it was is that Sher Khan, when we opened that in 2005, it was very successful, and really people enjoyed the cuisine. And at that time, there used to be a bar called All Bar One in there. And I found out in the industry that one of a major player is going to come and open like an Indian restaurant there. So I thought, well, if another Indian restaurant comes in, that's going to sort of like take the lion's share of the business. So I worked out that the rent was £2,000 a week, but if someone else comes in and takes another 20-30%, we'll end up losing a lot more. So that's where it came, and there was a concept called the Noodle House in Dubai. I don't know whether you guys have been to Dubai. There's a chain called the Noodle House. So I contacted them and said, look, would you be interested in doing give me a master franchise for a Pan-Asian concept. So that's where it really all started off from. But we were about to sign up, and then on the 11th hour, they sort of like let me down and said, right, we're not coming into the UK market. So we had this lease on our hands, and that's where we
took it on yourself.
We took it on ourselves. We got chefs in, and then that's where Oodles Noodles began.
Fantastic. And then you've got Tipu's.
Yeah, Tipu's.
I mean, this was 2013?
2013.
So this opened in 2013.
10 years. In September, it's 10 years.
10 years. And 10 years ago, I mean, it was different compared to all the rest. And even today, I think it still holds that prestige where it's unique in terms of decor, in terms of food. But how do you create something like this 10 years ago in your mind and then execute it?
Obviously, there was a niche in the market for, especially for, the Asian families. If you see the footfall downstairs in all our restaurants, nearly 85-90% is all Asian, and 10% is non-Asian. Out of which, we would say 80% are female, and then the rest, the other 20%. So there was a need as Asians were going out, entertaining. They wanted to go to halal places, and that's where it all started off from. I mean, from Star City, Sher Khan's, and then there became Tipu Sultan.
John, to be honest, John actually loves the restaurant business. He creates some amazing dining experiences. You've probably seen it here when we opened Sher Khan. Sher Khan will be going through a major refurbishment next year, We've opened another one in London, Feltham, Sher Khan, amazing looking restaurant. So
Yeah.
John's just got that vision and the eye for detail of how he wants the restaurant. Doesn't matter what you say and I say, look, you know, if John wants it that way, that's the way it's got to look. And he delivers. And he delivers.
And talk about attention to detail. Your branding across all of your businesses is pretty unique. The Big Johns, and I said in one of my videos, like our last keynote speaker was from Poundland, and surveys said that 83% of the population have been through a Poundland. I would reckon more than that in Birmingham have been through a Big John's at some point.
Yeah,
Is there anybody in here who hasn't been in a Big John's?
The girl from Swansea. She's here somewhere. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
I mean, Big John's.
We've seen. I've seen 2 generations through Big John's doors, 3 generations. You know, our sort of generation, and then the next generation, the parents. We see. So you know, it's been a brand, and I've seen the kids grow up, and they've married, and seen their kids coming in as well.
Wow.
We've been blessed with some good designers. We met a guy called Aidan Keane, who met us 15 years ago, and he told us where this business needs to go. That man had vision about the food industry, and he was part of the rebrand program. All this Big John's rebrands that you're seeing now is part of his vision. He passed away about 5 years ago, but an amazing guy, and he's involved in a lot of the bars and restaurants, and in the city now. His company still goes on, and they're part of the design of and the landscape of Birmingham at the moment.
So building such a big empire and such a vast empire, there's got to have been knockbacks. Now you explained the knockback with your mom initially and how you dealt with that. How do you generally deal with knockbacks? Because as business owners, I'm sure all of us in this room, we have setbacks and knockbacks all the time. And sometimes they can be detrimental and just make us lose hope. You obviously haven't lost hope. You've carried on.
No, I think it's all about the vision. You know, you have your goals and your ambitions and your vision. You know, you've got to keep going. You know, you get knockbacks, you get setbacks. You have challenges. You know, everybody has challenges. We have challenges. We have challenges every day. But you've got to keep focused. You've got to keep growing. You've got to keep leading from the front. You know, and you're only as good as the team. You know, us both brothers, you know, we're running at 100 miles an hour, but you need the team to be running at 105 miles an hour. So it's all about the people. It's all about, you know, the team. You know, you know, our success goes down, obviously, you know, our mother's blessings and prayers, but you know, the team around us who've made this all possible. You know, the credit goes, you know, working. I mean, both brothers, you know, we've worked very, very hard. You know, worked 7 days a week, 15, 16 hours a day, and it's all down to the team. You know, and it's all about planning, working hard, and keeping focused.
You both mentioned the word brothers quite a few times, and your whole journey so far has been about you both collectively do things, and I think it's very admirable the way it's happened. But is there differences of opinion? And if there is, what happens then? Who wins?
You don't say no to John, I'll tell you that now. No, I mean, look, talking about setbacks, the biggest setback we've had in our life is in 2008 when our mother passed away. It was a big shock for us because, you know, if someone's going through an illness, you know, inevitably they're going to pass away, and, you know. But our mother, she was with us the night before, talking, laughing, joking, and the next morning she was gone. It took us about 4 years, possibly 5. We were grieving till then. We stopped, I think, between 2008 and 2013, apart from this restaurant, we opened no Big John's. Our heart and mind wasn't in it. But it takes someone who lifts you up and says, guys, come on, we've got to carry on. And that was John here. He's not just my brother, but he's the father of the family. And he took it upon himself to lift us all up, the family, the children, and it is difficult, you know, when I mean, we think of her every day. Not a day goes by that, you know, we don't think of her.
It's a big loss.
And we miss her immensely. We miss that, every time we used to open a shop. She used to be in Pakistan, and we used to say, "Mom, we're opening a shop. You've got to come in. We won't do the opening without her." She goes, "I'm only coming over under one condition, that the first day's takings are mine." Doesn't matter if you take £10, £100, £1,000. I am keeping the first night's takings. And I used to say, "Oh my God, that's the profit gone down the pan for the whole week." but she took that money, and what she used to do was take that money back to her in Pakistan, and she used to go and support the poor, feed the poor, clothe the poor.
Which then led on to your Anzal Beg Foundation.
Yes, provide dowry, provide support for families who couldn't get their daughters married. She used to do those marriages. She was doing all sorts of work in Pakistan with that money. So we're so grateful for what she's done for us.
Fantastic. So I've been to your office a few times, and I've enjoyed a cup of tea there. And me and Bob are always chilling and having a biscuit, but you're always working. Can't get a word in sideways because you are so focused.
Yeah,
What is the motivation? And how do you do it? Because I look at you sometimes, I think, what's he doing?
Yeah, just I'm full of life, full of energy. Even the boys, my nephews. We just come back from China. We went on a buying trip, and I'd wake them up in the morning. "Come on, boys, what's wrong?"
But what is your motivation? What's your reason to wake up every day and do what you do?
It's just the drive, satisfaction. It's the drive, the vision. We worked hard creating a brand, and then it just keeps you motivated. You're just full of life. It gets me to roll out of bed every morning and face the day with full of challenges.
It's not money. If that's
No, it's not money. No.
I mean, if it
It's
was money,
clearly not money.
no,
It's clearly not money.
If it was money, we would have been happy. Probably 10, 15 years ago, 2, 3 shops. We're happy. It was making enough money for our families and for ourselves. It's not money. It's I think
it's more of a legacy now. So.
It's legacy. Motivation comes from seeing the brand growing. Our intentions are that we want to take this brand national and international as well. The Big John's brand, and next year we're looking to launch another franchise, a pizza home delivery franchise, which will support people who can't really afford the big numbers, and get a smaller franchise for them to support them, to get them into business. And then obviously John's got this big project on,
which is huge,
which is massive.
Congratulations on that. It's an absolutely huge project.
I was with him. Was it yesterday or this morning?
This morning.
I was walking behind him this morning. I was thinking, what has he got himself into, man? What's he doing here? Because it's just such a big project. 1,000.
So that's going to be the largest buffet in the UK, or
it's going to be 800-seater buffet, 200-seater a la carte, and then we've got a 1,000-seater banqueting facility.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
So next Chutney Chat.
I was going to say
dinner.
our next year's event at Chutney and Chat will be held at that venue. I'm booking it now. Wow, amazing. So your charity work, I mean, you're doing the Mela, and you're giving a lot back to the community. I mean, there's many business people that you've supported, helped start them up, introduce them to suppliers. But your Mela, I think, is absolutely huge, giving something back to the city, giving something back to Birmingham. 90,000 people attending?
Yeah, about 70 to 80,000 a year. Yeah, every day. Every year we do it.
Why would you do that for?
Because we're nutters. We surprise ourselves sometimes.
Why would anybody take on the headache of running the Birmingham Mela? I mean, it's 80,000 people over a weekend. The logistics, the nightmare, the dealing with the people, the stall holders, the health and safety, the artists, the weather, British weather. Why? When you've got all this going on?
Well, we took on the Mela in 2015 when local authorities were moving funding away from religious events. They clearly said that there's no more funding in the pot. So in 2015 we were invited to be the sponsors of the event. So we just went on to the event on the day and had a look. And when I saw it, I thought, this event should stay on as a free community event. and it can grow. I mean, in those days, when the council had it, they were attracting numbers about 10,000 every year.
Yeah.
And like last year, earlier on this year in August, when we had 70,000 people turn.
Wow. Wow. And it's not just 70,000 people. It's the artists that come and the logistics and the looking after and the whole thing. And the Mela is actually a great experience.
It's an international event now. I mean, you go to Pakistan and people are talking about it in Pakistan. And it's everybody looks forward to it every year. We make no money out of it. I've got no hair left because of this Mela. And but we do it for the community. We enjoy doing it, and it takes about 3 months of our life out. But when it comes together, we really enjoy it.
I think as citizens of Birmingham, we need to say thank you for that, because it really is exceptional. And then we go on to your charity work and the Unzulbeg Foundation in honour of your mother, and the work that you're doing nationally and internationally. What kind of stuff?
Well, I'll take this opportunity to do a plug. There's some items outside from the Unzulbeg Foundation. All those items that we sell, whatever money we get from that, we send it back to Pakistan. It supports those families who have created those items. We're working particularly in Tharparkar in Sindh, where poverty levels are, unimaginable. The foundation, just to go back about, the foundation was set up in our late mother's name after she passed away, and it was to carry on the work that I mentioned earlier that she was doing in Pakistan, feeding the poor, clothing the poor, and doing all sorts of amazing work. And we thought, and a lot of this work that she was doing came to light after she passed away. People approached us, say, your mum done this for us. These daughters are married because of her. This house is running because of her. This building was derelict. She built the house for her family. So we said, well, we're just going to continue that work. And in 2019, I really gave it a push. I'm blessed to have my brother Zahir here somewhere. Zahir from Human Appeal, who took me to Pakistan. He said, look, come and visit us, come with our charity, have a look at the work we're doing. There's an amazing project coming where we can provide water to people who have not seen water for generations in Tharparkar. And we started with the one village, and now we're on 60. And how many people is it supporting now? Over 100,000 people.
Wow.
And it's we've done some jointly with Human Appeal and the work they're doing and they're our delivery partners. I mean, we don't have any sort of people on the ground there. They've got the team there who carry out we raise the funds, we collect the funds from good, generous people like yourselves, and then we go out with them. And the thing with the Unzulbeg Foundation is we don't just pass the money on to delivery partners. We go there and stand by them, make sure that money is reaching the goal and achieving the goal that we want to achieve. And they've delivered these 60 villages.
Fantastic.
Amazing work.
So John, as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure as many of us today, after hearing your story, we aspire to you, because I think there's a lot of people in the audience. So when I announced John and Bob, but a few people did approach me and said, John and Bob, what are they going to talk about? And my response was that, well, people come from China to come and touch the bull ring. And we live here and we don't really care about it. So there is people out there who need to know John's and Bob's story. And it is really, really inspirational. And when I sat with Bob a couple of weeks back and I went through this whole journey, I thought, wow, incredible. So hopefully we've delivered something to the audience today. Now I open up to the community. Sorry, before that, any words of wisdom to the business community, John? Because you are an entrepreneur through and through. From having vendettas against your competitors, to arguing with your mum, to negotiating with your suppliers. And I think as business owners, we all do these things. And if we don't, we're not entrepreneurs. We're not business people, because at some part of our business, we've all done these sort of things, maybe in different ways, but we do go through these phases. But only very few get to the point that the brothers have got to. And may the Almighty give them more. But any words of wisdom from yourself?
I mean, look, it's not really easy. I mean, everything is hard work, but the thing is, you've got to keep focused and believe in yourself. It's good to take advice off everybody, but trust your instincts, your gut feel. A message that Mum always said to us, it says, look, if it feels right inside you, trust yourself, because you're the best judge of character yourself. And nothing's really easy these days. You just got to work hard, keep focused, have a vision where you want to take your business, and really, really importantly, invest in the team that's going to help you in that journey. Because what I believe in, if whilst the brands and businesses are growing, you have to bring in a lot more people who are far more experienced than yourself that can help you to get to that elevate.
Do you feel people maybe sometimes fear that, bringing in people that are better than them because they feel that they may lose control of their business?
It's a lot of it with the Asian businesses. We like to keep control. Sometimes we do it ourselves. Can you trust this guy? But as long as you put systems in place to protect the business, and it's just nothing's easy. We all look over the fence and think the grass is greener. Look at your business, I think the grass is greener, but I tell you what, it's harder to cut. But just keep focused, keep driving for. You're going to have challenges, and you just got to keep focused and just believe in yourself, and then you can achieve anything.
Fantastic. And Bob?
Mine probably would be to say that, don't judge success by the watches you got on, the cars that you're driving, the houses you live in. Those are just the fruits of your labor. You judge success. Your success comes from how you change the life of other people, either through charity.
Absolutely. Wow. Fantastic.
The Almighty has blessed us, everybody in this room. You're blessed, you're affluent. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests you with that wealth. He tests you with your children. He tests you with what He gives you. What do? Do you hoard your wealth and look at your bank balance every day and say, wow, I've got £1 million in my account or whatever it is? Or do you use that money to make lives of other people better? And that's very, very important.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because we're just caretakers in life. This is not really ours. This will be passed down generations. And we'll all be forgotten.
I think what's surprisingly apparent in both of yourselves is your humbleness and how humble you are.